Hey everybody, welcome to Movieverse. My name is Brian. I am here with Jason and Greg, and we will be doing a review for Mad Max Fury Road. Me and Jason just saw it Friday night, and Greg saw it this morning. So this is basically going to be Greg's first impression. So we're going to start with you first, Greg. What did you like about Mad Max Fury Road?
It was a very visual spectacle. It's probably the best action movie I've seen, in years. Great special effects, great sound design. It was an action ride from beginning to end. Yeah,
what did you think about the story of the movie though?
There was one.
Yeah, it was pretty simple though, right? It was a pretty simple story.
It was a straight, simple of I want to choose a better life for myself.
Yeah,
and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get it.
Yeah.
Granted, it's I don't know. I don't know if they actually said it's a reboot or a sequel or
no,
what.
It
takes place
sequel.
between the first Mad Max and then Thunderdome.
Yeah. Because basically my problem with it mainly was I've seen Mad Max, I've seen Road Warrior, and that I didn't see Thunderdome, but a lot of the background story, like the kind of world building stuff, I didn't really remember, didn't know. So there's a lot of places where I wish they would have had more exposition.
Yeah.
So that's really the only kind of negative thing I really had to say about it.
Jason, what do you think? What did you like about the movie, and have you seen the originals at all?
The obvious thing that sticks out is the visuals.
Yeah.
The soundtrack was amazing. The way that the vehicles were awesome, and the way that Tom Hardy played the character was really well.
Yeah.
Even though he doesn't have to talk at all.
Yeah, in the first half of the movie, I think he said like 5 words, and most of it consisted of water.
And grunting.
Yeah.
And the good thing about this is it makes me want to go back and watch the originals, because I had not watched any of the Mad Max before, but now I want to because of what I just saw. And it's the same guy, George Miller.
Yep. And
he's coming back to continue it on, and they want to do more, and I'm really excited. I want to go see it again.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for what they can do forward.
Yeah, I hadn't seen the originals either, and seeing this movie, it was very adrenaline packed, I would have to say. And like you said, the visuals were great, the soundtrack was great, but also you have to think that they did practical effects on this movie. Most of it was practically done.
Yeah. And CGI was just to enhance what was there.
Exactly. So that's really impressive when you actually see what's going on in this movie, and you're just like, man, they used practical effects for this? That's crazy. Yeah. And, so I did like the visual effects and the soundtrack and stuff like that, and I appreciated the simplisticness of the plot. Because for me, the story didn't drive the movie. It was more of like the action and the characters' interaction with each other. I thought Tom Hardy interacted great with Charlize Theron's character and Nicholas Hoult, even though, like you said, he didn't talk that much. But still, without talking, he was able to convey to us what his character was all about.
Yeah, they didn't burden us with unnecessary relationships.
Yeah.
Whether platonic or romantic or whatever. Like, you could tell, like, these people were brought together by the instinct to survive, and that's all you needed.
Yep. There wasn't no stupid love story to try to get people.
Yeah, you think this movie kind of is like, okay, we just had a great action scene, so then we're gonna go low and maybe have a dull scene. Nope, it goes right back to more action.
Yeah, because Tom Hardy, saves Charlize Theron a couple times, like, and though you expect then this romantic moment.
Yeah.
Because that's what you are conditioned with all other action movies.
Yeah.
But this doesn't have that. Like, it doesn't burden itself with that unnecessary plot point.
Yeah, and before we move on to the negatives about this movie, one thing, my actual favorite part of this movie was when they're in the sandstorm and then you see like that tornado or whatever it was. Yeah. That visual was so amazing, and I don't think I ruined anything for the movie in that point, but that visual was so amazing. Like, that was my favorite part. But Greg, was there anything like negative that you saw in this movie?
The basic, because you're missing a lot of that background information. I kind of brought it up before, but it's kind of, you're not really knowing what's going on in the world. You get that Charlize Theron, is trying to make a better life for herself and for others, but kind of you don't really understand why she's doing that.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with you. We didn't see. This story was very much singular. Like, it just concentrated on this very small, fairly small group of individuals when you think about the whole world in general. But the flip side of that is it creates room to build more stories going forward if they decide to do that. Jason, what about you? Was there anything negative that you didn't like about this movie?
I would say only the backstory, because if you're like me, which I've heard of the originals, but I've never seen them.
Yeah.
You can kind of get, well, I don't really understand, but it's only a fraction of the movie because the way that it kind of seems is it's a retelling of the same story just by a different person. So it's like we were along for the ride. So it's not like Max's story, but it's like we are kind of part of their group.
You know, I guess the negative for me would be that when he was going through those like hallucinations or like seeing people from his past, I'm guessing that's what it was. Like maybe that's what it seemed like to me, was that it was people that he tried to save in his past that died and he didn't succeed.
Yeah, like the only kind of setup you get in that movie is that very first opening dialogue.
Yeah,
like before he even gets captured.
Yeah, so that's the only thing that I didn't really fully understand. So I guess that would be a negative for me. So if they could have set that up better or explained it more, I think we would have had a better connection with Tom Hardy's character. But at the same time, you did have a connection with all these characters, not because of the story, but because of the interactions that they had with each other. Like, I think transition...
They are very natural interactions with each other.
I think the transition of Nicholas Holt's character throughout this movie was great, and it really made me enjoy his character more. Tom Hardy's interaction with both Nicholas Holt and Charlize Theron was very intriguing to me, so that is what drew me in the most to this movie.
And be fair, we are talking a lot negative about not setting this world up.
Yeah. It
is still very much a movie you can watch and enjoy.
It's a very standalone movie.
Without knowing the previous story.
Yeah.
Just, I would think the previous story would help fill in some of these missing details.
Yeah.
And also, too, for me, also, like, if I was younger, like college, teenage still, I would be enjoying this movie wholeheartedly. But as I've gotten older, I do kind of want more than just straight action for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm kind of a little bit negative about it more than I really feel about it.
Yeah, and real quick before we give it our score out of 10, I just want to talk a second about, we have all these movie studios like DC and Marvel who have these joined cinematic universes, and it is kind of refreshing and kind of cool to see a movie that just stands on its own. Like, you don't need to see the previous Mad Max movies to understand what's going on in this movie, which I think is great. But I'm excited to see what they do in the future. So, Jason, what do you score this movie out of 10?
This is a 10 out of 10 for me.
10 out of 10?
It really was. Yes, it's one of the best action movies I've ever seen. Visually, I mean, the guy in the guitar with his flamethrower coming out of the guitar.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, that was awesome. And just everybody, it's craziness. Yeah. And everybody, they seem to be having a great time in the movie, so.
Yeah. Greg, what about you? What's your score for this out of 10?
I'm probably going to be the low one on the list, but I would say an 8 out of 10.
An 8 out of 10?
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, I enjoyed my 2 hours watching this movie.
Yeah.
But because of what I want from a movie now, like, it didn't fulfill all of those needs for me.
I understand that. And I mean, to be honest with you, when I saw the trailer and I first saw that dude just shredding on guitar and it doubling as a flamethrower, I was kind of like, really? Like, what? Like, come on. Like, and I know it's hard to say because I'm a big fan of superhero movies, so I just suspend my disbelief so much for those movies. But for this movie, it was kind of like, I don't know. When I saw the trailer, I didn't understand it. But then when you actually watch the movie, you kind of get a better understanding of why he's actually there. He actually has a reason to be there, shredding on a guitar with the flamethrower. There's actually a reason for it. So that kind of helped me get into the story a little bit more. For me, I'm going to score it an 8.9 out of 10, I think. I mean, it did have great action sequences and great visuals, but for me, I didn't enjoy it as much as I did Avengers. And that's, all movies are subjective. I'm a huge comic book fan, so maybe that has to do something with it. But yeah, so 8.9 out of 10 for me. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this review of Mad Max Fury Road starring Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron. Like this video and comment down below what you thought about the movie. As always, if you like what you see here on Movieverse, subscribe to Movieverse, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.